with you. Got to see the movie, loved it so much. I was scared and I felt so many emotions. The film really emphasized the love story between Ed and Lorraine. And Vera even said this is more of a love story than a horror story. And the emphasis of Debbie and Arnie's story and the reflection between the two couples. How did you find the balance? Because it's the first of the Conjuring we see really love between the two. How do you find the balance between the love between the couples and then the WTF moments?
Yeah, I think that's honestly one of the, first of all, great question, and so good to see you. I think that's one of the things that people love about the series. I think that one of the things that people come back to is the Warrens, and it's their relationship that, we love to see again. And I think that it almost gives us that rock. It gives us the stability that allows us to take this dive into this really dark, unsettling material. And without a doubt, I'm glad you picked up on it. There's definitely, mirrors throughout the film, and, the couples mirror each other. And, I think that it was really interesting because first of all, for fans of horror, without a doubt, this is ruthlessly scary. It's absolutely a horror movie. It's not just a love story, but I think that there is definitely a lot of heart in it. And I think it is that love story component that really makes it into a really special experience. But yeah, the couples mirror each other. I think that, one of the things, this is the story of Arnie Johnson, this murder trial, this man who claimed demonic possession in defense of murder. And, it's the most public of their cases. They took this claim to court, and they really came to the defense of this guy. And I think ultimately, these movies, if you go back to the very first one, they're always stories of love and they're always stories of faith. And in this, it's the assumption is that the faith is always faith in God. But I think in this, it's so much the faith that we put in other people and the faith we put in people that we, the people that we love and the people that we choose to spend our lives with. And, I think that as you look at those two couples in the movie, there is definitely, these are stories of faith, in the different forms that it can take.
Well, there's a lot of responsibility regarding this is the darkest one because it's based on an actual murder versus the other two were just the horror aspects of what happened. With Conjuring 1 and Conjuring 2 being James Wan's baby, was there any advice or direction that you received regarding how to spin this story because it's the darkest one?
Yeah, we had a lot of discussions. I've worked with James, for now years at this point. He produced The Curse of La Llorona. I owe him my career. One of the greatest honors to take this film on, and I definitely owe him. We talked a lot about it, and it was, because there's a real victim in the story. There's a man who was murdered. And I think that there's a huge responsibility to tell that story, to be respectful to the victims, and, to also to capture the emotional experience of it. And I think that was one of the things that we always came back to is, I think we're in a culture now where everybody wants just a quick answer, and you want to decide what and what is right, and then you want to decide that the other guys are wrong. And I think that this is a controversial case. The Warrens are coming to the defense of a murderer, a man who is claiming demonic possession. And I think it's something where it actually, unlike any of the other films, it's really it's made me ask what I believe and question what I believe. And I think that, I've talked to James about that. And one of the things that for me, I just always came back to is, people will decide what they want. And, it's not for me to push my agenda or my belief on it. It's to tell the story of the Warrens and to tell their emotional story and the emotional truth behind it. And, who's to say what actually happened, in this case, but you can tell the emotional story, and, to tell that with, honesty, that's the best thing you can do.
No, of course. But thank you so much. I know that's the time we have, to thank you so much for your time. And I'm really happy. I went through so many emotions throughout this film. So thank you so much for the scares too.
Thank you so much. I wish we had more time. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good one. Thank you.
Yeah, you
So
too.
I am so excited to be chatting with you guys. The movie is so fun and scary. A mixture of feelings. I feel so many feelings watching this. Well,
As do we.
yeah, that's the way it should be. Yeah, but like, The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, is based on real lives, surrounding a possession as well as a murder trial. How did you guys approach this role that's rooted in reality, but also supernatural? So I'll have Sarah Catherine go first.
Sure. Okay, approaching this role, I didn't really have that much time to prep, honestly. Like, I booked the role and then just went straight into filming. So I was kind of like, oh my God, I'm doing a movie. This is insane. But then like, it was kind of the first few weeks where I got to work with Patrick and Vera for my first few weeks of filming, and just talking with them about the Conjuring universe. And this particular story, like, was very helpful in my understanding of like where this was going and just how this was going to be made and everything. And then eventually, within a few weeks, I did connect with the real Debbie and Arnie, and started this really lovely relationship with them, and chatted with Debbie like throughout the entire filming process. And like, anytime I had a question, I would just text her and be like, did this happen? Did Arnie try to do this in prison? And I would just be so candid and was like, just tell me straight up the facts, like what happened. And she was always very, very excited to answer any questions, which was really, really wonderful. And she was a huge part of my creating the character, of like being involved in it and everything.
No, of course. And Ruairi, like, how was that? How did you approach it? Because possession and then the real life.
Yeah, I certainly feel that I have to be very sensitive with even how I think about it, because someone doesn't exist anymore because of events that we're somewhat depicting in this film.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I met Arnie, and I said hello, and I was filming, but it was definitely strange, and I didn't really know how to process it, because I don't know what happened really that day. I wonder, it's probably a very small list of people who do. I'm sure Arnie doesn't even really understand what happened anymore in lots of ways. And the character that I'm playing in the movie, he certainly doesn't know when he's forced into prison and he's still being haunted and possessed. He's very confused as to how culpable he is for this. And so I kind of lent into the feeling of confusion and uncertainty that I had, to help Arnie also have that. So it's a coward's way of saying I don't know, and I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, of course. But director Michael Chaves said that the making of the film is different from the rest of the Conjuring movies. It's a love story. Vera even said it's more of a love story than a horror story. This is the love story between Debbie and Arnie. How did you guys find the balance between the love between the two and the WTF moments? I'll have Ruairi go first.
The WTF moments, yeah, we have a few of those. I just think that when we got to do the scenes where we were genuinely in love and happy and things were going well, they're few and far between. It was just so nice to suddenly be looking at someone and not thinking they're going to be possessed and try to rip their head off. So, I can't imagine doing a horror film where you don't get any of those scenes. It's just misery the whole way through. And I think the audience also appreciate that there is some kind of levity and hopefulness in it to, really crush you when it gets very scary.
Yeah. And it was really refreshing, I felt, to have that as well. Not just for us as actors, but also like watching the movie, like in the beginning, there's a lot of playfulness and personality. And I think that those love bits, and just showing, not even just like, them being in love, but just seeing them be as a couple, I felt was really entertaining and lovely to watch.
No, it definitely was. It's very refreshing. So I want to thank you both for your time. Love the movie. I love watching you interact, so much chemistry. So I really appreciate the interview. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pop culture with a different perspective. Watch it on your screen, hit play, so check this. This is the Hard Knock Life, but not